Hi, I'm Penn Holderness.
I'm also Penn Holderness.
Oh, I'm Lola Holderness.
And I'm Kim. Okay, this is our Amazing Race episode 8 recap special edition podcast.
It's all those things.
It's all those things. But first, before we let them go to bed, we have just watched episode 8 of The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
And our kids are shocked.
We don't normally bring them in here, but Lola just had a stunned look on her face, and I'd like you to come in here and just talk. Like,
Maybe we let the kids
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
We're going to step out.
Hold on 1 second.
Well, I just wasn't expecting you to get first 3 times.
Yeah,
because like that's like really,
that's
really,
four
really
times
good.
in the season,
like,
right? It's 4
just
times
like
in the
really,
season?
like I was just expecting you to like I don't know. I was expecting you to do good, but I wasn't expecting you to do like that good. You know?
So
I don't know
you were
why.
giving us a lot of like vibes that wasn't.
Yeah, because like you popped open a bottle of wine, and I was like, oh, she's definitely like something's going on. Like she
and you
definitely
were like
didn't
looking like stressed, like
There was definitely something going on. Like she definitely didn't win. Like you just seemed very stressed. And I was like, okay, they definitely did not win. And then I was like, oh my gosh, wait, they got third. And like and then when you got announced as like first place, and you were like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, what the heck? Like, you just got like third 3 times in a row in the Amazing Race. Like that's really cool.
We were stressed.
Third 3 times in a row.
We were stressed for our friends who were having an issue.
I am.
Yeah, but like I was not expecting that because of that.
I wasn't as surprised as she was, but like.
A little surprised.
Like,
no, because like you guys
I feel like you're just like building us up for like a.
Stop! Don't say that.
You said that too.
You said that.
But I wouldn't say it in front of.
You did.
Finish your thought. You think what's going to happen?
I think you're just building this up and then not gonna.
Failure, disappointment.
Okay, everybody wants to know what's your reaction to seeing us. So what do you think? What do you think watching?
I think I'm very proud of you because it's like a really hard thing to do.
It was
and
a
I'm very
fun and
proud.
educational experience,
And it's very it's funny watching you be like, oh my gosh, he's so hot on the screen. I'm like, oh, that was my mom saying that about my dad. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Well,
And that was the only thing I'm like, oh, that makes me a little uncomfortable. You know, even if you like lost like now, look, it's still really good.
we're still proud of you. You won like what 4 legs on the entire thing?
4 so far.
Yes, 4 so far.
Yeah, but
And Ryan Destio.
You both said at some point tonight this is setting us up for
Failure.
Well,
Yes.
because you know, I say like she has a glass of wine right here. She had a glass of wine. She popped it open like before the show even started. I was like, okay, this is not gonna end well. And then it did end well. It did end well.
Okay, you guys have to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's past your bedtime.
Good night.
Like everyone else watching this podcast, our children are obviously completely in the dark, and we're stunned by what happened.
Stunned.
Yeah. So hi, by the way, let's a quick rejoiner. Hi, this is the episode 8 Amazing Race recap show. Someone's phone is dinging. That's what happens when you have a good leg.
Well, I would say I think the reason why. So we came in first. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode and you're listening to this recap, spoiler alert. I think my kids saw me stressed because we have grown to really love these people. It's a competition. It's a race. And I know it's not, as frustrating as like non-elimination legs are because you want to, every person who gets eliminated, you're closer and closer to, getting to your goal. But anytime somebody's eliminated, it's somebody you love. And so coming into this leg, I knew what was going to happen, and I knew my friends Lulu Lala, who I love, and I just I started crying again. I cried after they got eliminated, and I started crying again tonight. Like we had a good night, but like it was very emotional, and so anyway, we're gonna have fun tonight.
We're gonna have fun. We've got Greek grape leaves,
Domades,
and we've got Greek wine that they made in France.
It's not Greek wine,
but no one has.
I'm sure the Greeks make a lot of great wine.
We went by some vineyards. Leg 8 is in Thessaloniki, Greece, but we did not know that. For the second time, we got on a plane third time with absolutely no idea where we were going. They do not give us boarding passes. They because it was a private plane, they found a way not to tell us what was going on, and so. Well, for one of us, that's thrilling and wonderful and kind of like a fun kind of like, oh, look, squirrel. And for one of us who I actually understand this now, okay, I'm going to tell you, like, I get this. For someone who likes to be prepared and know what's going on, that had to drive you nuts, even though you were flying on a nice, comfortable private airplane.
Right. So we landed in Thessaloniki, but the beach we were standing on was not in Thessaloniki. We didn't even know the city we were in. And I don't know if it's the reporter in me or just because I'm a woman and who has always been trained to like know her surroundings, to not even know the name of the city you're standing in.
Right.
Or where like geographically you are in relation to your children. So there's a picture, one of the producers, Matt Schmidt, he posted on Twitter. And I remember this very distinctly. So we were starting on a beach in Greece. And I was like, at this point, I'm just really missing my kids. I'm like, I don't even know which direction they are. Like, I don't know which side of Greece we're on, because it showed it got very sunshiny, but it was not in the morning. It was very cloudy in the morning. So I'm like, I don't even know how to orientate myself in the sun. And I have my compass out. I'm like, I don't even know which direction my kids are.
Also, if you look at the island, there's a northern and a southern end. It's just, there's water everywhere.
We went on an island.
I said there's water on the north and the south. I know it's not an island, but there was a northern shore and a southern shore of the island. And so it was difficult to understand where you were and to calibrate. If you can't just say, okay, drive toward the ocean.
So our mood was, we had 1-2 legs. And so we have watched The Amazing Race enough to know that like people don't just keep winning legs in a row, like something happens. But we're going to try our best. So we rip our clue. We are with Raquel and Kayla leaving in the first group. And we run to cars waiting for us on the street, and they are stick shifts. And you, of course, did great.
Yeah, so that would have been a thing. Driving in a foreign country with a stick shift, if we hadn't already done it in Scotland, and we had to do it on the opposite side of the road with the gearbox on the left side, right?
In Scotland, yeah.
This was, it wasn't much of the storyline, because really everybody who was there had a horror story already in Scotland and probably spent some time practicing. I think that Raquel and Kayla said that they either like took lessons or they like
Raquel
went and got
lessons, yeah.
Yeah, so that was smart on their part. They knew that it could happen again, and it did happen again.
Yeah, but it was on the on our side of on the right side of the road, so nobody really had an issue with it. I'm calling this direction dilemma. Okay, we are in we don't even know where we are, right? And we are in areas where this area in particular did not have a lot of tourists, so maps weren't plentiful. So there were directions in the car.
Yeah.
But they were like 2003 MapQuest directions.
Right. Yes, they were. There were maybe 3 directions. And this is the most important part of this entire trip. We were in France before. I spoke some French.
Yeah.
That was nice. We knew I wasn't going to speak any Greek. No one was going to speak any Greek. It's all Greek to us. Here's the other thing, though. You guys, their letters do not line up with what American letters are. I was in a fraternity, and I know alpha, beta, gamma. I know what all those capital letters are, but everything's written in lowercase letters. Yeah. So when they're saying like, take a route to, I can't remember the name of the city, but you have to guess what the letters are. There were some English translations, but not all the time.
Right. We weren't in heavily touristy areas where there would be English translations underneath. So like Penn said, everything was in Greek, and the directions that were in the car were like, I think you even saw Lulu and Lala at one point. It said like, take right at the paved road or some. They were at that point in time, like all the roads were paved.
Right.
And it would be like, take a left at the blue sign. It's Greece, and all of the signs are blue. So I have to say, there are moments where being older on this race is really, really hard. But having the 2003 MapQuest skills, you remember 2003 MapQuest? It was like, take a right.
Yeah.
And it was like that. And just for anybody asking, because we got a few Twitter questions, if we were working with Raquel and Kayla to get together, love them. You saw them, like we were like, we love them.
Yeah.
We were not working together. But we each got there on our own at the same time to the initial place.
Right. It's funny. So like, they didn't have, these shows are 42 minutes long with commercials, right? They don't have time to show everything. I think everyone had trouble with the letters, with the fact that the letters were crazy. When we left I don't know if you remember this, when we left the beach to start driving toward that grove to look for the clue, we like drove into the middle of a road that had a restaurant that was just in the middle of the street.
Right.
And it was the first time I realized when we were out there, oh, this is not like France. I can't ask this guy, where are we going? No one in this town spoke English.
So we got into, it was kind of the route info to find your next clue among the olive trees. And we got there at the same time as Raquel and Kayla. We're running around like maniacs. Like, is it a clue box in the trees? Is it a tree? And then Penn, this is the benefit of having like a really tall person as a partner. He ran, jumped, grabbed it. And then you saw Raquel and Kayla. I died. Like Kayla squatted her up like a Hulk. And like, and Raquel grabbed the crew.
Raquel tried the first time. And then I think Raquel would have gotten her up, but like, it's hard to do strenuous exercise when you're laughing your ass off. And that's like one of the things that we love about Raquel and Kayla, and that everyone should love, is that in the face of everything, they have laughed their way through this race. And it is such a smart strategy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's obviously paying off for them. They finished second again tonight. They've like done extremely well. When this is over, you'll see that they're in great shape. But they have this joy when it comes to problems. And that was another one of them when they were trying to grab they like did a cutaway of a ladder, but then you see her like hulking Raquel up on her shoulders. I never saw a ladder while we were there. So there may have been a ladder, but it was 4 rows over. I never saw a ladder. So just putting it out there that they weren't doing it just for fun. Yeah, they may not have seen the ladder. But they got the clue. We got the clue.
We left several minutes probably before Raquel and Kayla, but you see us getting to Mariana's at the same time. Again, the directions were very cryptic. It was like, go past the olive grove and it's on your right.
Right. And then there's nothing for miles and miles. And Kim, we drove right past it. I looked at it. There was a sign. Okay, guys, look at the Amazing Race sign that said Mariana's on it. That was not the sign that I saw. If you moved like fast forward to like a menu or some other thing, Mariana's was written in Greek, so it looked like Mavrov's. So I'm like, oh, that's not Mariana's, that's Mavrov's, because ours look like this. So we drove
past
for like, maybe it felt like an hour, but it was probably what, 10, 15 minutes?
It was 4 minutes.
What's the rule of Amazing Race time dilation?
I think when you're screwing up, you feel like it's like time 10x.
Yeah.
It's 10x.
Right.
But when you're doing something amazing, you're like, I did that in 3 minutes and it really took you 30.
Right. So the time dilation was bad for this, but we turned around, we saw it again, we realized it must be it, and then we got there, but then what happened?
So we started, but then the other team saw our cars, but there were no cars parked out front. So this area of Greece, beautiful. It looks like a vineyard in Napa, but it's just olive groves and olive trees. But it was beautiful homes. They look like homes.
Yeah, but they all had the same kind of vibe going.
Yeah, but there weren't a lot. I would say we passed 4 out there. I mean, we were in Nowheresville. There was nothing there. There were 2 men sitting outside of the house and like folding chairs. And we pulled in to like ask them for directions. And we're like, oh, there's a clue box.
Yeah.
So that was, but then the next teams pull up.
Yeah. So we got in there, and honestly, like, we saw them from up top, and we're just like ducking, hoping that they would miss it like us. But like 3 white cars in the middle of
Right. So
Greece.
you see our cars right out front. You have to think that the other team saw our cars. They even like said that, like, I think Dusty said that they got our cars. Anyway, Roadblock. I was behind. He has done 4. I've done 2, right?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Yeah. And in the Amazing Race, a roadblock is where one member of the team has to do the task all by themselves. And no matter what happens, he can't help me at all. He can't tell me anything.
Right. Just to recap, the main reason why we were out of whack on roadblocks, and it's a good reason, and it's an understandable reason, was that my lovely wife had begun menstruating, in what we thought was going to be a water challenge.
Well, no, the water doesn't bother me. No, the water wouldn't have bothered me. I just needed to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's right. You had to put in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's understandable, right? And Kim is going to write about this. About
I already did.
Oh, good. About just really how that's unfair for women.
Well, it's not. It is a disadvantage.
We don't have periods. Men
and
don't.
Women have to I could have done it, but I'd need to go to the bathroom first and dig out tampons on my back. Anyway.
Right. I'm glad I don't have to do that. So anyway, so the roadblock was Who Likes to Rap? And it was spelled with a W. If it was with an R, I would have made it 5-2 on the roadblocks because I love to rap.
Senny, do you want to come say hi? Our dog is here.
But didn't you have a pretty good idea what it was going to be when you showed up at that place?
You try to, and very little about what's going to happen to you if you land in this country. Like Greece, what are they famous for? And we kind of rattled things off. There's breaking plates, and there's domades. There's stuffed grape leaves, and I'm thinking as a producer, I'm like, oh, I would have people roll 100 of those stuffed grape leaves, those domades, and so I woke up that morning thinking one of us is going to have to do that. And it was so weird that Who Wants to Rap? So I knew exactly what it is. Also, I will say Raquel and I watched the demonstration. I always go to the table or the space that's right next to the person that's doing the demonstration, so that I can just kind of run over very quickly. And I started just kind of hurrying through it, and in a very I see the other teams come up, and I'm like, let me go watch again. And she was she just kept constantly rolling. When I went up and they showed me going up that second time, and this wasn't like a mistake by production or anything like this. This is just what happened. You see her, by the way, we ordered some for dinner. We ordered some stuffed grape leaves for dinner. She put one down just by happenstance. She grabs a leaf and she puts it down. It had been the wrong way. She flipped it over and then started stuffing it. And I was like, oh.
So that's how you figured it out.
That's how I figured it out, because I went back up. And I think when she did the demonstration, and I talked to some other people afterwards, they had seen her do a flip. So it was very obvious to the people who had watched that second demonstration. But let me tell you, it is not obvious just looking at the example. Right. It is let me show you.
Yeah,
it is not
by
obvious.
looking at it, I don't know which one is inside and which one is out. It was interesting that Arun, if you listen to him, he was onto it from the beginning.
Oh, totally.
But I want to give you some credit where credit is due. You're talking about happenstance and luck. One thing that this is the second example of this, and it's one of the things I love about you as a type A prepared personality. You love to be in front of the class. And by that I mean you always put yourself as close as you can to whatever demonstration is going on. Remember what happened with the mule?
Yeah.
When we were in Corsica, when we started this winning streak, and it happened again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3. Got to call it a streak. It happened again tonight when you were there, and you explained that to me, and then I was watching, and I was paying very close attention to how close you were to her. And I mean, you were made for this challenge. You really were. You
I screwed up the first half, but sure. Come on.
I just think that your perfectionism was a good fit for this particular woman. And so Mariana, who I called Mavra Pavro, is so funny. We had a little bit of time after. By the way, congratulations on getting out of there first. That was awesome. On the way out, you told this story about how, and they didn't show this part, but I feel like we can share this, where you said, "Is this good?" And she's
like, "It's good enough." And then she's like, "Good job." So she was, and I was like, "She's a picky lady."
Good Greek mother. It's your lucky day.
It's your lucky day. No, but and so I mentioned my friend Anna. She's one of my dear friends, and she is, she lives in Tampa. We go to visit her when I visit my family in Florida, and she has made trays of these things, and I'll just sit there.
Do you know why there's trays? Because I eat them all.
Yeah, and so I'll just sit there drinking wine, and I've never once thought to help her.
She puts meat in them.
She puts meat. Hers, I have to say, this whole, and then Mariana's were a little smaller. Okay, so it's good enough. Mariana says it's good enough.
Yes.
And we get a clue.
Yes, and we got the clue, and the clue was to go get to go to a souvlaki stand, and that's going to be our next stop.
Well, it didn't say souvlaki. It just said to order the.
Oh, that's right.
Special.
To go to a stand. So, but can we talk about how some of the other, like what went down with some of the other people in that roadblock? Because there was a lot of up and down in placement. There's been some thought about this particular season that, okay, you start at 15 minutes ahead. Like, how do you ever catch up? Well, here's the answer. And you're going to see this, I do believe, as this episode goes on, there was a lot of seesawing when it came to places.
Right. And I do think, though, this is an example. If this had not been a self-drive leg, if, Lulu Lala got out of there third, Lulu and Lala would have come in third. If they were just taking a cab,
right,
Lulu Lala would have come in third. And so you have to think that in a lot of seasons, the thing I was nervous about was starting the Amazing Race experience and putting my fate into a cab driver's hands.
But
I have to say, at this point in the race, I was willing to put my fate in a cab driver's hands because it was so
stressful,
mentally exhausting to drive
everywhere
and then navigate places. I honestly would have put my fate in random cab driver. You've never been here. You don't speak the language. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, drive me somewhere. Anyway,
we are 8 legs in. 5 of those legs have been self-drive. And 2 of them were the first 2 episodes, which means 4 of the last 5 legs have been self-drive.
It's so mentally exhausting.
So for a lot of reasons, we're not in the same seat. Like
I'm sitting behind.
I mean, and that's understandable. It's a production thing, right? Like you have to.
Yeah, like the camera. But I'm sitting behind and I'm short, and I get car sick.
Yeah.
And so I'm
always nervous about that too. On these roads, I don't ever want to and I'm like that in North America.
So we get the clue, and it says go to visit. Ask for Demetra at Mamo's stand. I should have written this down better.
No, it was
and ask
Mama.
for the daily special to get your next clue. The directions, and you see Lulu and Lala get mixed up here, and it was so easy to get mixed up because the directions from there were like continue driving out of Mariano. So like you go the same direction, take a right at the paved road. They're all right. I mean, and then there was like take the blue exit of the roundabout. There's blue signs at every roundabout. So
we had to turn back around to the roundabout to make sure it was blue.
So
I remember that.
We actually nailed the directions somehow, but I'm not going to say it's because we were super intelligent. Like and you see me getting snippy with him because he goes like, I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel. And right now, Jesus is Kim. Because he kept asking me, are we going the right way? Or I'm like, I don't know. It's saying, go to this town. And the town is on a paved road. And I don't know. So like they were kind to edit out.
Yeah.
Like it was like.
I was getting out of that with a joke. I remember that. I was like, I need to make a joke. I don't even know if I used it correctly with Jesus and the wheel. Loving that Kim and Penn are doing so well. They work so well together. Thanks, Melissa. We did get in a little bit of a snit.
And then also Audrey Brazel said, I really thought at first I wasn't going to like Kim and Penn, but hot damn. They've quickly become my favorites. They're killing it.
By the way, Audrey, I want to go ahead and give you the total carte blanche on not wanting us originally to do this.
Totally.
We're a lot.
Totally.
We're a lot.
And I think that we got asked the question. Right, we haven't even gotten through the recap yet, but we got asked the question today. It's like, what has surprised yourself about watching yourself on TV? And you had an interesting reply.
Me?
Yeah.
Can you remind me what I said? I remember the question.
You said I'm a lot more hyper.
Oh, I am. Yeah. No, I have tics. So, all right. Kim doesn't like it when I fiddle with my cutlery when we're at dinner. It's just something that happens with me.
He'll start like playing with the fork. I'm like, you put that in your mouth. It's like gross.
Yeah, but I also hold it in my hand. So that's fine.
The times before. Anyway.
I also put my fingers in my, look, here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm fine. Stop. Like these, it's okay. It's just germs. But yeah, like I have some nervous tics, and I did like all these nerdy dances all the time. And I think I'm just a little more jittery. Honestly, the race itself probably lends you to be that way a bit, but I would like to be a little more cool. I'd like to be a little more like James Bond than I actually am on television. What is yours?
Lola, and I don't know. She's so sweet. She's like, you talk so differently.
Oh, she did say that tonight.
And I think when Mariana or Mavra Pavo handed me the clue, and everybody was there, right? And so there was a potential to fall behind. And I was like, I'm like, oh my God, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I literally every time I earn a clue, I am near tears. I'm an emotional person. I cry a lot, and I am near tears every single time.
Relief.
Yeah. And so she's like, why are you? I'm like, no, because I'm about to cry. I cry like over things that overwhelm me. Like I immediately start crying. I cried tonight, and I cried when Lula, I mean, like the whole thing. I cry all the time. Anyway, let's move on. We make it to Mamo's stand, and the instructions in the clue were to ask for the daily special to receive your next clue. And in the previous episode you saw, we ran up, we ate some gross maggot cheese, and the dude just hands us a clue. So we were expecting daily special, we're going to eat something and get a clue, but this is what happened. Roll the clip.
Hello, Demetra. Yes, I mean, I would love for you to tell us what to order.
The dish of the day is the souvlaki, but first you must spell it.
Souvlaki. Souvlaki.
Yay! All right.
Pork or chicken?
Pork, please.
Must eat the entire item you ordered before leaving the stand. Done.
I'm gonna eat that.
Thank you.
Hang on, I'm gonna go big bite.
So good.
This is what it looks like eating in our family when you have kids. You're gonna take all your food.
I know. Do you have a clue? No clue. Did we screw that up?
I gotta swallow it.
No.
No clue.
Then they cut away in the show to something else, because that's what good storytelling is.
Yeah.
Cutting away to something else. We really did we realized it about 15 seconds later, maybe 5 seconds later.
I think I said, oh, we ate the clue.
Right. That's what did it. When you said we ate the clue, I realized that I'd thrown the thing away, and I went dumpster diving very quickly.
I have to say, I want to consider myself like a student of the race, and I feel like I watched everything and I studied everything, but you get so
race blinders on
that. Of course, they show the clip and they show like zooming into the trash can, so it's obvious like what it is when you're watching it. In the moment, you think, "Oh, I'm going to eat this delicious." It was delicious.
Oh my God! So hang on. That frickin' do they make pork souvlakis here?
She said, "Well, we asked for the traditional one,
right.
and we asked
but I feel like I'm always getting chicken souvlakis here, and then it was this mustard sauce that I don't think they do much of in America. The mustard sauce is what did it. It was unbelievable.
And so I expected the maggot cheese. You get a clue, and so I was so brave, and I did say, "Oh my God, we ate the clue."
Yeah.
And then he went dumpster diving. I think if it were just me by myself, I think I would have like
vomited.
No, I would have like ordered another.
Yeah.
And like picked through it. I think I don't know.
Oh,
but
really?
Anyway,
I thought when you said what you said that, and it triggered me perfectly. So well done.
Okay.
That tripped up, I think, everybody a little bit. It obviously bothered Lulu and Lala more than anybody. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I think that was a pretty quick stop for us.
I think we've also established that Penn and Kim as a race team struggle in finding clues.
Just finding. Oh, yeah.
Just finding.
Especially if they're in a mail bin.
Especially if they're handed to you, obviously.
Or if you're holding them in your hand.
If you have handed us a clue and we're holding it in our hand, we're going to struggle to find it.
Yeah.
That is not a strength. I think that's a definite weakness. Anyway.
Sam is pulling up the picture right now of me holding a clue from episode 2 and making a face as if to say, is this clue a clue? Of course, it was a clue, but I spent a long time figuring it out.
So that's what we learned,
right.
That on Amazing Race, if it says Amazing Race, it's a clue. So we thought it had to be a clue. Anyway.
I should not have had to learn
Anyway, it didn't take us that long. But we do have many great qualities that serve us well in the race, as you're about to see. But finding clues that are incredibly obvious, not ours. Okay, so they don't show this part, but right there, we're in a residential area. I don't think that's where Demetra normally sets up. We're in a very residential area.
It was a lovely place for a souvlaki.
Yes.
It was right by the water.
Gorgeous.
I enjoy. This is like another, probably example number 85 of a time that I would like to just sit down and relax in the middle of the race, because it was beautiful and the food was good. But instead we ate it like it was, we were vacuum cleaners and it was dust. We didn't eat it as fast as Raquel.
We're going to get to that.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh, Raquel, they thought they were in last place, but they thought they were in last place. She ate that in 3 bites. Kayla tells the story, and she'll tell the story on her recap podcast that she has with Detsy.
We're going to tune into that.
Literally, Kayla got like a French fry out of that because Raquel was feeling so much pressure because she felt like she screwed that up. Roadblock, she ate in 3 bites. Anyway, I literally hurled myself in front of a car that was passing by, and this older gentleman, I just held up the wrapper and he spoke very little English, but very kind. And he pointed us, I think we went the faster route because you saw people run along the beach, and we took a quick left. Yeah. And he just kept saying, "You're going to see it." He's like, "Just go. You're going to see it."
He did say close. He said close a couple of times. So we knew that that's a useful piece of information when someone says close, because if you drive for a little while, you've gone the wrong way.
And you'll see, they show a little bit in the episode, everybody's yard in that neighborhood had a lot of these idols and statues.
Gosh. I thought everything was a church.
And I was like, Penn, Holderness, stop. So is
that a church?
And he would be like, is that a church?
Is that a church?
It is a man literally watering his lawn.
Is that a church?
I'm like,
but they all had these, literally every
statues
house
and idols.
had 8 or 9 statues.
And so I was like, Penn, Holderness. I said this. I was like, the Amazing Race is not going to send you to a man's house who's watering his lawn. And so,
are you sure about that?
And so finally we got straight there. I mean, we really did a good job with directions on this episode. We did.
I think we did a good job. I think we were fortunate in some ways, but 1000%. But also, yeah, I mean, like, Kim, you're as the navigator, you're getting better as this season goes along.
So we find it, and again, I was like, okay, now we're at 4 and 3 for roadblocks.
We don't have a choice.
It's another roadblock. I was like, I'll do it. But you read, and if I had done the first one, he had to do it. So I'm like, crap, we're outbalanced again. And thank the Lord. I'm just going to sit back and let you describe what happened. Because I was just sitting there, I like to write down everything. I'm a note taker. Oh. I was sitting there taking notes about the stuff we had seen and done during the day. And oh my gosh, it was like a college lecture. What was happening?
Yeah, so it was a priest. I'm sorry that I'm using air quotes, but I'm not sure that he actually is ordained. If he was, forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Beautiful day in Thessaloniki, just me and this guy. I think we had created enough separation that I got to hear a lecture by myself. It was a 15-minute lecture. So 15 minutes is longer than you think when someone is just giving you facts about people with what's going on. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And there were 10 saints. There were a lot of ways to get distracted. He had the writing, like there was a picture and there was writing next to it. All of the pictures were actually quite beautiful. I think whoever drew them, they were cool pictures. But I knew that like I had to listen to everything the guy was going to say. And so I know I talked about it a lot. I'm glad that they're using this in the show, because when you have an attention deficit, what that means is that if you let yourself slip and you go somewhere else, you're gone. You're out to lunch and you're going to miss whatever's going on. You're going to miss the boat. But if you are able to focus and get into that kind of mode where your focus is higher up than it normally is, it's higher than a normal person's focus. It's called hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is normally, if you look at it up in Wikipedia, which I did, which is not very impressive, it is seen as a negative sometimes. It is distraction looking somewhere else. But if you can stay laser focused on the task at hand, you can be very good at it. And that is the dirty little secret about ADHD. It is very hard to harness, particularly in stressful situations. I don't know if that's true, actually. It's hard to harness in any situation. But like having $1 million on the line and knowing that there's a bunch of cameras there and knowing that your wife is like counting on you, like all of those things make you focus more. They make you care more.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of tweets about this because it was very amazing. Platram said, I love how Penn is talking about ADHD in a way that has its pros and cons. Starry Mag says, Penn describing ADHD is so true to me. And Amy Ginsberg, my son struggled with ADHD as a child, but he's an unqualified success as an adult. I'm convinced Penn is thriving in this competition because of his. It doesn't hurt that you two are so much in sync either. It's a testament to your marriage. Oh, that's very sweet.
Well, I'm glad she said that last part because people who have anxiety need a good partner. People who have ADHD need a good partner. Like it helps if you're not by yourself in this and you can find somebody who's able to get you through it. And if they're there to support you, then you have the ability to make that your superpower. I think that if you had just gotten fed up with the fact that I leave my keys in the refrigerator sometimes and I leave my coffee mugs on top of the car and I drive away with them, then I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this. So this is my Oscar acceptance speech for this Roadblock. I'd like to thank Kim. And I would love to do a TED Talk on this. I'd love to understand more about it. I need to look up this whole hyperfocus thing because I'd heard about it before, but I'd never actually needed it as much as I've needed it on this race in all these situations.
Panny Fresh says Penn's memory is bananas. We talked about this. It's kind of like a photographic memory, but it's hard when you're hearing something and not necessarily seeing it. And so Raymart says, he said, don't talk to the priest. You asked him a question and he's like, don't talk to the priest. He shut you down.
That's why I don't think he was a priest. A priest would never say, don't talk to the priest. That's just such hubris. A priest would be like, son, bless you. Would you mind if I continued? He wouldn't say, don't talk to the priest.
Don't talk to the priest.
All right.
So I will say, and Phil reminded this because you do a little chit chat at the end of the pit stop, and Phil said he told us that even their testers didn't get it in one try, so that you were the and I think so when people got it on they had to sit through I think Ryan got it quickly, but he had to sit through through 3 lectures or 2.5 or
2 quizzes, and then Kayla sat through 2 lectures, but she got it on her first quiz.
She got her first quiz, so she came in at like the halfway mark. Of the lecture, so she had to sit through that.
Kayla did great. Kayla jumped from 3rd to 2nd on paying attention and on a lot of the same stuff that I talked about. About like associating words with ideas.
She did great on that but I think that they're going to talk about it and how they got there. I'll let them talk about it in their podcast. It's the Pit Stop podcast. So we left and we had not seen anybody, and so we felt really good. We went into this little coffee shop across the street from the church. And again, such a sweet little town. And they got Nicholas from the back because nobody spoke English up front. And they got Nicholas from the back. Remember?
Yeah, I remember Nicholas. I remember Nicholas from the back.
Nicholas from the back, who's like younger and speaks English. And he just said, and again, you're in a small town. And he's like, just hug, like, whatever the Greek terms, he's like, just stay on the water and the fishing pier will be on the right. They show Lulu and Lala finding the pit stop. It wasn't obvious. Like we pulled up and parked at the fishing pier, and Phil was standing in such a way you couldn't really see him until you ran up. So it wasn't like they thought they saw cameras and ran toward the cameras. So because we saw like what we thought were cameras, we didn't see Phil, so we couldn't tell it was the pit stop until like the very, very end. So to me, that was an honest mistake on their part.
It was. And by the way, if you guys are big race fans and you want to look at certain frames and you have it on DVR and you want to look back, there was one point where Arun and Natalia were asking for directions and you could tell that they were on a pier. It was the same pier. They went there too. So like that, the roads were again horrible.
They didn't go all the way to the pit stop though, but they went to the pier.
If you look in the background, the pier, they did not go to the pit stop, but you can see that pier in the background. It was like this.
But
like that.
It was a small town, and I feel like navigation. It is interesting. Like on a season that has I think, what are there normally, like 2 self-drive legs or maybe 3, but usually 2. I don't know how would we do? I feel like we're really strong at the tasks, but if it's just like task to task, it's a different race because I do feel like navigating is something we're really good at.
We are, but it doesn't mean we have to like it.
But I would have preferred 20 races in a row of jumping in a cab.
Do you remember how great Corsica was when somebody was driving us around?
Oh my God.
It was amazing. It was the only time. All right, so
we get to the pit stop and we're team number 1, and it was...
Our daughter was, if you watch the beginning of the podcast, was
Can we share the video?
Stunned. Yes.
We should share the... Okay, so right after we came in first, my kids were like looking at us, so I took this video.
Lola looks confused.
We just won our 3rd leg in a row. What's...
How? I love you, but I'm not expecting
Good job.
Great job. Great job.
Very proud, but like,
Insanely proud.
good job.
But why are you so surprised?
It's like
Ryan and
3
Dusty.
in a row.
Right, because Ryan and Dusty... Oh, that's really close up, sorry. Because Ryan and Dusty?
PC thinks Ryan and Dusty are the
Okay.
juggernauts.
It's almost like too good to be true now. So like,
Right, so we're setting you up for
yeah,
disappointment.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm so proud. Like, that's awesome. But like,
Someone.
a little suspicious.
Do the eyebrow thing.
I'm not gonna lie.
Do the eyebrow thing.
So our kids are shocked.
You know what this video says to me? Our children are very confused right now because we have been like, they ask us every day what happened, and we give them a different answer every day. We've given them 50,000 answers.
Well, we don't tell them.
We can't tell them. We're not allowed to tell
place or
anybody.
anything.
We're not allowed to tell anybody what happens at any point in time. But we live with these little kids who we're supposed to be honest and true to, and they have no idea, and they're very confused. But at least they're having fun. I think they're having fun.
I think they're having fun, but now they're getting annoyed because they're like, wait a second. They're like, you are in the final 4 teams. And they're very... Anyway, the video is very funny. So...
By the way, let's celebrate that. Final 4. Final 4 sounds good.
Does sound good. I'm proud of us.
Did you think that we were going to be in this situation? You kind of maybe did.
Felt like because you never know. I think that there's so much luck that is involved in this.
So much can go wrong.
And so much can go wrong, as we've seen that's happened to, I think Lulu and Lala are a very strong team. And I felt very protective of the female teams. And I think that's why my kids were like, they thought that we weren't going to do so well today. Cause I was like a little down starting to watch it because I knew what happened. So I think that they are a very strong team who navigate. They beat us in Lugano because they were such strong navigators. They have this twin leg. So I know that a very strong team on something as simple as like take a right at the blue sign. Like we took a right at the correct blue sign and they went to the next one.
Right.
So I think that it wasn't, the timing of their bad day was, it was just unfortunate.
Okay. So lightning round, some quick questions. And just give me your honest reaction. Did you expect Raquel and Kayla to be in the Final 4?
Yeah, from the beginning? Yeah. So we met them. We met them on the airplane heading from Charlotte to London, and obviously loved them. Like they were just like so funny. And that first day, we jumped a wall with them, and I was like, they're in this. Like they are serious.
Yep.
Like so at that moment, I was like, they're going a long way.
Did you expect Dusty and Ryan to be in the Final 4?
Yes, of course. I adore them, but of course, yes.
They honestly, they work really well together, right? Did you expect Arun and Natalia to be in the Final 4?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing. If this is a race just on doing the tasks, look how fast Arun got out of there. Look how fast Natalia did this other thing.
He had a really good leg. They both had a really good leg.
So, no, but look at them on the tasks. Great. But it's that piece of if we were just getting around on cabs, it's a totally different race.
Right.
So, but that was knowing that there were so many self-drives know. I mean, it doesn't change the fact of their relationship is like, I could see like you and Lola doing the race together. I mean, like that is like, they are like goals, like daddy-daughter goals.
Yes. And our drives to school are not exactly warm, fuzzy.
Well, it's 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
I did expect Lulu and Lala to go far. I think I met them for the first. We talked kind of in code because again, it's a TV show and they want these relationships to unfold on camera, so we're not able to really have conversations with people, especially in the beginning. We saw them come in from the first day of London, and like I was like. I wanted the female, I wanted to know the female teams. I'm like, what's your name? And they're like, Lulu, Lala. I'm like, oh my God, I love your names. And I felt like after they had just knowing them and seeing them in action, and it's hard, y'all, being like the female, like a female team. There is so much strength that's required. Female bodies are different than male bodies. So there's some strength that's required of women, and it's intimidating to go into a challenge knowing you're going to have to do something that requires a lot of strength against a 6'5" dude.
Look at something as simple as pulling the clue off of that tree.
Right.
That is not a gender neutral challenge.
Right.
If you're a man, you're going to be 6 inches on average taller than a woman, and you're going to be able to get to that clue.
And
right?
so, and you ran, like literally our time in that, it ended up evening out because we kind of circled to find the Maripova's place.
Yeah.
But it took them probably 10 minutes or 7 minutes, and it took us 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So those.
But it made for good television, trying to get on each other's shoulders.
So anyway, I don't even know what we were talking about.
Well,
I did think Lulu and Lala were going to go.
Right.
Far.
I was asking you, and so here's what I want to end with. As we're approaching the end of this podcast, my aftermath, I was thrilled that we were still in first place. Like winning the prize money is fantastic.
Amazing. That's why I got flowers for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Because normally I'm like, don't spend the money on flowers. They're so expensive. But I got flowers.
No, we got the leg. So yeah.
I got flowers, but I'm like, but still, it's too much money. Save the money.
Right. The money was great. It's like in this particular race, you're like leaving at an earlier time. You know, that's going to happen because this has happened over and over again. So you assume that's going to happen on the next leg. Mm-hmm. Here's the big takeaway that I got though. Once I saw the order, I was like, I had not given Arun and Natalia much thought until this race, this particular leg was over. And I was like, oh, wait a second, these guys? I've watched The Amazing Race before. These guys win all the time. They find ways to hang on, and then they just absolutely peak at the right time, because you have to get stronger to stay in the top. And like knowing exactly how to survive, maybe even for them, knowing when the elimination and the non-elimination legs are, like I had this realization like, oh crap, these guys are an issue. And Arun will take that as a compliment, I hope.
Well, my favorite seasons are the ones where the underdogs pull it off.
Yeah.
Season 25, Amy and Maya, Josh and Brent. Is that 21, 23?
The Beekman boys.
Yeah, the Beekman boys. Those, and I know, and it's so funny because I feel like the super fans of the show may feel different, but I love it. As a fan, I love it when people who come out of nowhere and do really well. I do. I as a participant on the race, I would have preferred to win every leg. But as a watcher of the race, I think it's very boring when one team wins everything. That's not my favorite. So like after we won, then they're like, oh, people are going to hate us.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It gets boring.
We are going to have Lulu and Lala on sometime in the next week. They are very busy ladies. They have jobs, and then tomorrow they're very, very busy with doing all sorts of interviews, and I just wanted to have some special time with them, so we're going to have them on very soon. And I can't wait for you to know them because they're so special, and I texted them tonight and it made me cry again. I'm like, you guys make me want to have a twin sister. And they're like, you have us, we're your sisters now. I'm like, oh, gutted to the heart. But yeah, that's like a weird thing about The Amazing Race. Like I didn't expect to come away with such good friends.
Well, I think anytime, you're in a stressful situation with somebody and you come out on the other side in any form or fashion, like you're going to remember those people, right?
By the way, totally expected a U-turn.
Yeah. This was the day we expected a U-turn. Have you guys kept count of the total number of U-turns on The Amazing Race this season?
There have been none.
It's zero.
There have been none so far. And so
I have no input on why that is, but zero U-turns through 8 legs. Has that ever happened before? Has there ever been
back.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, hold on.
There has to have been a U-turn in every season.
They
Just stating a fact.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know. But I think that's why we're all very nervous, because I think that we just all assumed there'd be a U-turn. And honestly, our thing was, and this is also going to piss off some super fans, is that we were not going to ever use it unless we were in the very, very back. Like if we were, next to last, maybe we would have, but we had talked about it, that even then we're like, I kind of trust our ability to get through things. And we never wanted to be the reason that happened. But can I also talk to Raquel real quick? In that she was screwing up the vein things on the grape leaves, and she stayed like this. You guys, Raquel Moore, and her website is like the Raquel Moore or something like that. Girlfriend's a life coach, and I'm like 45 and I'm doing this, and she's in her 30s and she's like this. I'm like, will you just talk to me and keep me calm? And she was like this the whole time. I would have been in tears. We've heard about my crying. I would have been in tears. Everybody leave. You get there first and everybody leaves. She was a boss. And then she ate a souvlaki in 2 bites.
And they finished second, and she was great. And that is a perfect segue into the quick teaser that we saw for next week's episode. If you happen to see it, Kim was in tears. I'm not going to say anything else.
The Holderness family cry counter's going up.
If you look at the teaser, there is an overhead shot. There are people with rocks. Kim is in tears, and Dusty is frustrated. That is all you have to know.
My mom texted me. She goes, did I see you crying in the teaser?
I think people should watch this next episode. That is all. People should watch this next episode.
Holderness family cry counter's going up, y'all.
The cry counter's going up. Okay, thank you so much for watching. We can go to bed now.
Yeah, we're having to do these at night because...
Also, I think it was nice getting the quick reaction from our kids. They wouldn't have done that in the morning. It was nice seeing them. They're cute.
Do you guys want to see our dog? She's right here.
No, I don't know that I can pick her up. She's like fast asleep.
She said
Sunny,
she's sleeping on our feet.
Come say hi. Come on.
Come say hi, Sunny.
Come on.
Here's Sunny. Oh, hey, Sunny bunny.
Okay.
Hey, Sunny, what do you think about The Amazing Race?